Live from the campus of MSU Denver in Denver, Colorado, and the Cavia Theater, it's RMAC Media Day here live on the RMAC Network. Hello, everyone. My name is Miles Dunklin. Over the next few hours, we'll talk to representatives from all 10 RMAC football teams. We'll have head coaches, 2 standout student athletes from each university as well. We will dive into all of the above. We'll talk schedules, standout players. We will also have the RMAC all preseason team, offense, defense, special teams, the preseason coaches poll as well. Plus, we'll sit down with the interim commissioner of the RMAC, that's Lexi Vernon, for a State of the Union conversation about all things RMAC sports. It's a packed schedule, so let's get things started. Dakota. It is the Black Hills State Yellow Jackets. We've got head coach Josh Breske, running back Cameron Goods, as well as defensive end Cooper Brown. Guys, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Coach Breske, first I'm going to give you a chance to make an opening statement about your football team this year.
Absolutely. You know, going into year 6, feels like it's yesterday I accepted this position at Black Hills State, and not to be corny, but I feel like I'm living out my dream every day, being the head coach at my alma mater.
Five and 4 the last 3 years, winning seasons 3 years in a row. Previous to that, improved your record each year there at Black Hills State. What does that mean to you as the guy at the helm of the program to see that consistent winning, and how do you make sure that continues as you move forward?
Yeah, I think sticking to our process, not to be boring, but we have a pretty decent recipe that we like to stick to as far as how we practice, when we practice, what are we lifting, when are we lifting, what type of guy we bring into this football program. We have a very consistent recruiting model where, you know, 90% of our signees every year are going to be high school student athletes. You know, we've just found, in my experience, even being an athlete at Black Hills State, a student athlete there, I don't know that Spearfish is necessarily a huge destination for transfers. There's not a lot of kids that enter the portal to say, boy, I'm extremely fired up to move to South Dakota, especially Western South Dakota. But having said that, typically when we get athletes and student athletes on campus, we always hear, wow, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. And anyone who's tripped into Spearfish can attest to that. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cooper, I'll start with you. Talk about the loyalty to Coach Breske kind of within that program. You guys have done a great job, especially in the modern world of college football, retaining your players. What is that? What's the secret sauce going on there at Black Hills State for you guys?
The secret sauce, I think, is just honesty. I mean, I came in there as a freshman, didn't know what was
Same question for you as a guy that came from out of state, pretty long way away from home. Why stay there at Black Hills State, and what's special about that place?
I think like Coop said, yeah, honesty goes a big way. You get a certain
Great stuff. All right, guys, let's talk about this impressive schedule that you got here in 2025. First starting next month with Sioux Falls and then Grand Valley State there at the beginning of September. So some tough non-conference schedules the last few years. So with St. Thomas playing up there. Coach, why schedule these type of teams? How does it benefit your program?
I had to learn a little bit of a lesson when I first took the job here at Black Hills State. We had some games already set up contractually with Dickinson State and an NAI program, a very successful NAI program just north of us a few hours. And playing in both of those games, we won one pretty decently. We won one barely one year. But looking back on that, at the end of the season, those NAI wins just don't do much for you in terms of playoffs. And so talking with Jazz Baines, Jay Long, guys who've been in this conference forever, schedule D2 games as much as you can. The St. Thomas scheduling over the past 2 years was a little bit more of a financial thing, game guarantees and putting some money in the kitty to make sure we can get these guys these awesome polos and things like that. So, but yeah, I think if you want to beat the best, you have to play the best. And I'd rather be sharpened up for Chadron State, Fort Lewis, and Colorado Mines as we enter RMAC play by playing Sioux Falls and Grand Valley, than opposed to maybe playing, maybe a not as successful Division II team or an NAIA team. So Sioux Falls is close too. The proximity is a big point for us. Is these guys, we're the furthest north team in our conference as far as football goes. So we have, and hence that's why we get to go first. Appreciate you, Lexi. But, finding close Division II games is a big deal for us. And, Grand Valley reached out a year and a half ago, and they needed a home game. They had some guarantee money involved. And so what a great opportunity for our athletes to go play in front of, some of the other coaches who played there, Phil and, Colorado Mines. They said there might be 18,000 people at that game. So it's going to be loud. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great environment. And I think if we can come out of there with our heads up, and healthy, and we're never going to go into an environment and plan to lose a game. We're planning to win both of those games, of course, and that's where our mindset has to be. But coming out of those two, we should be sharpened up for RMAC play.
Right. By the way, you mentioned the polos, guys, looking very good this morning. Hopefully that can be seen on the video here. Cameron, I'll ask you kind of the same question. How does that sharpen up your off season, knowing you're not coming out with a cupcake early in the season? You got some serious opponents right off the jump.
Well, I think just personally, my mentality never changes. I think kind of as a team, we hold ourselves to a standard no matter who we're playing. So our mentality going into that off season, always the same. We don't care who we're playing. We're going to bring our best and give it our all. So I think playing Grand Valley State and Sioux Falls right off the bat definitely lets us find out what team we're going to be right away. And I think that'll go a long way, just knowing what team we're going to be going into RMAC play. So.
Cooper, Coach Breske asked me, or told me rather, that you guys had an impressive summer. Tell us, what was the summer participation like? What was that like from your point of view? How much do you guys feel like you've improved?
I mean, we've improved a lot. When I came here as a freshman, we were just transitioning to the new coaching staff, and I don't think summer was a word in our vocabulary at the program. And now this summer we had over 120 guys. And so it just is a testament to the coaching staff and the dedication of the players that we're here and we're working, and games are won in the off season. Like, we have those tough games coming up, so we got to prepare. Like, winter condo's not easy, but that's where you win games, is in winter condo, and you get your speed and you win games in summer. You don't win games, week one of fall camp. The time's already put in then. You figure out who's going to play where, but the winning is done in the preseason and in the summer, and we've had a great turnout. Coach Clay has been an awesome strength coach for us, and everyone respects him and loves his workouts, and he makes you sore, so he's doing his job.
You guys are both RMAC academic honor roll guys, both studying business. Coach told me you guys had some interesting stuff going on this summer as well. So tell us about you guys off the field. Cameron, I'll start with you.
Off the field, actually, Coop helped me get the job, but we both plumb. We're plumbers for Wolf's Plumbing, which is like a local plumbing company in our city. So that's what I was doing. It's my first summer doing it, and I enjoy it. I love it. But yeah, Coop's been doing it for a while now, so I don't know.
I mean, Cam just was like, "Do you want a job?" I was like, or he asked me if he could get a job, and I was like, "I mean, sure, if you want to. You got to work all day, but it's been fun. I mean, it's really blossomed a pretty good relationship between us two. You know, offense and defensive guys, you can't be friends. You know, running backs
Not
and
at
D
all.
linemen, like,
Don't like this
you
dude.
can't be friends. It's almost as bad as quarterbacks. It's close, but it's been good to be able to spend time with him this summer and really create a good bond going into our senior year. And so yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
All right, question for both Coach and for Cooper. You guys lose a lot on the defensive end, a lot of experience on that side with some players that have been there, you know, for a long time. The Quinones brothers, certainly Richie, Adam, Levinsky, a bunch of those, you know, good players on the defensive side. So how do you guys rebuild a defense that's been really good for you?
You know, we've been fortunate, sticking to our recruiting model. The year before we signed, it was somewhere around, I think, 47 high school athletes in that class of 24. So we were able to redshirt many of those guys because of the depth that we had this past season, primarily in that defensive back room. And that's the room that kind of sticks out in my mind, where we graduated 6 DBs. A number of those guys have been starting for 4 years at Black Hills State, including these two as well. You know, this will be their 4th year starting. Both played as true freshmen. But we were able to go find a few transfers, 4 defensive backs coming in, a defensive tackle. Our linebacker core is returning, so we feel really good about that as well. But the depth, you know, and I kind of told our athletic director, Jed Albers, when I first took the position, said, hey, we might not be very good in year 1 or 2, but in year 3, I think we could be really good, and we'll have that depth built up by recruiting high school seniors, you know, and signing guys and having our depth built up by, you know, having 40 to 50 freshmen. And so, you know, this class is no different. We have 51 incoming freshmen. I believe we have about 11 transfers coming in as well. So a pretty big group of guys, newcomers, and that's always a test as well when your newcomer group seems to be a little bit bigger than your returning group is, you know, will our culture survive? Will our older veteran guys find a way to impact and bring those newcomers in? Over time, these guys have proven that they're just great at that. They're great teammates. They know how to project the culture, how to love their teammates. And so I'm excited about the direction that these guys will have in their leadership roles with, close to 62 newcomers.
Yeah, so perfect segue, Cooper. How do you guys embody that leadership role as now you look around? You know, you're the old guys around the program, and with all those new guys coming in, especially on defense. So how do you embody that leadership role, and how important is that for you?
I think it's just through other people. You know, you put your arm around the new guys and you teach them the plays and you try and be their friend. Like, we're a teammate, we're a family. JB's big thing is family, and it stands for forget about me, I love you. It doesn't matter about me and the stats I have. I care about the win column, and we're going to get to the win column through transfers, through freshmen. Like, me and Cam, we both played as freshmen. We had successful freshman years. Like, I don't care if you're an 8th-year guy or you're an 18-year-old right out of high school. If you can play, you can play, and that's what matters. And our coaches, our new defensive backs coach, Coach Sturdivant's awesome. He's getting our room right, and we have the leaders in that room. We have a couple of returners that will get us right, and I'm excited for what's going to happen.
All right, let's pivot, talk quickly about the offense. You guys get TJ Chakura back. That's a big weapon, certainly, for your offense. And you return a pretty good core there with first-team all-conference Jason Rouse, Damian Boozer at wide receiver, Luke Doobie at quarterback, obviously this guy over here at running back as well. So, Coach, and then Cam, tell us about the offense this year and how you feel about that core group of skill players coming back.
Yeah, I feel really good about our skill positions coming back. We got Luke Doobie returning, who started all games for us last year. Cam Goods, been a starter now for a few years. Tons of experience. TJ Salmon, I think, is a guy that kind of goes a little unsung. He played last year and took over as a starter in our tight end room. As a redshirt freshman, TJ is probably, 6'5", 240, 250? So TJ's
he's got that farm strength.
Yeah, TJ played 9-man football in Hitchcock, Tulare, South Dakota. His dad and his mom are both BH athletes, former athletes. His mom's a Hall of Famer, but super quiet kid that got to pay attention to number 80 this year. He really gets us started in the run game. Obviously, Jason Rouse at left tackle coming back is a huge boost to our offensive line. But I feel good about our wide receiver room. Damian Boozer was our leading receiver last year, and I think he missed 3 games. And then on top of that, Jaden Williams played as a freshman. TJ Chuckera missed the entire season with a medical red shirt, so we'll be getting him back this year. It'll be great to have his production and his just have him. He gives us a lot of confidence for sure. But yeah, Ashar Granger, we can kind of keep going down the list. We have a few wide receiver transfers coming in as well. So I feel really good about those skill position groups, and I know we'll get to it, Miles, but I think the biggest question marks on offense will be that offensive line group. Who's going to be that starting five?
Right, so I know we're running out of time here, but Cameron, tell us about your expectations for the offense and for yourself within the offense.
I think, like Breske said, I like the skill positions we got. I think we're pretty deep there in all positions. I think the big question mark is, mainly that O-line. Obviously, we got great leaders in that room with Rouse coming back, and we're just going to have to see, like Coop said, we got a lot of freshmen. Hopefully they come in, and we both played as freshmen and had great seasons, so it's definitely doable. So we're just looking for who's going to step up and be that guy for us. And then I feel like everywhere else, like I said, skill positions, we got depth, and I think we'll be pretty consistently good there.
All right, Coach, last question for you here as we wrap up. Like I said, 3 straight years you guys have had a winning record in the conference. Incredibly impressive. How do you jump from 5-4 to 6-3 to the upper echelon of the league, and how difficult is that?
Yeah, you look back to this past season for us and maybe seasons prior. I mean, truly, there's 3 teams in my mind that kind of have a little bit of a glass ceiling above us that we just haven't been able to, to beat in our time here, in my time here at Black Hills State. And we've gotten into some really close contests with CSU Pueblo over the past 4 seasons. We had a close contest once with Colorado School of Mines, and we thought we had a chance there in the 4th quarter. A 1-point loss these guys' freshman year to Western, and that was probably our closest game with them. So we've been really close to cracking through that pane of glass. I think the biggest thing is we just we can't take for granted time. That's the one constant is. You look up and the first quarter's gone by and it's like, shoot, we haven't really gained any footing. And so finding ways to start fast, to value our time and our possessions on offense and defense. I think special teams has kind of been a hindrance to our team in the past few years, and I take ownership for that. That's something that I don't feel great about, and it's regrettable. So we're going to put a huge emphasis on making that a strength instead of trying to hide weaknesses and cover up things and put Band-Aids on things. We're really going to attack our special teams this year and see how much we can make that an asset to our football team. But it all comes down to execution on game day, right? When the game's on the line and we need that extra yard, do we have all 11 guys executing, or we need to stop a team on the goal line? Can we execute in those biggest moments? And I think not being afraid of those big moments, My first few years at Black Hills State, our team was surprised when we would win games. They were surprised when we'd be in a tight game with Pueblo. And these guys can remember some of that. And I'd always tell them, don't be surprised if we get into a 4th quarter with a team like CSU Pueblo and we have a lead. Like, don't be surprised, right? Let's expect that type of success. So I think we're getting closer to that each year, Miles, but ultimately it comes down to executing the plan on game day.
All right, our thanks to head coach Josh Breske, to Cameron, to Cooper. That was the Black Hills State Yellow Jackets. Up next here for RMAC Media Days, we'll have the New Mexico Highlands Cowboys.